It is highly probable that we will never know for certain how and why Yevgeny Prigozhin, the leader of the Russian mercenary group Wagner, was killed. It is also quite possible that he was assassinated, most likely at behest Vladimir Putin, but probably at the behest of his enemies in Russian Defense Ministry, who had long dreamed this moment and believed they could finally make it happen. Kill him with impunity. Most Western interpretations of assassination focused on Putin's fear that Prigozhin's death would create among Russian elite, or fundamental fragility it unleashed in Russian regime. This is not entirely wrong, but it overlooks some of long-standing fears that are prevalent in Russian establishment, and indeed wider Russian population, that will influence course of events: defeat, chaos, and mutual fear. What really worried many members of the elite was that Putin did not act much sooner to end the public feud between Prigozhin and Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, and that Prigozhin's armed show risked devastating internal division in Russia, leading to defeat in Ukraine. Judging by recent failures in Ukraine's offensive operations, if the Russian regime and state remain united, Russian army has a good chance of defending its existing lines. From my conversations, it appears that the vast majority of elite ordinary Russians would agree to a ceasefire on existing battle lines, and that Putin would not have any objections if he proposed or accepted such a ceasefire presented. It is an adequate victory for Russia. The strict nationalist elements in establishment military will be extremely unhappy, but they were weakened by fall Prigozhin steps Putin took to limit their influence, including dismissal of 2 generals, arrest ultranationalist leader, former Donbas militia commander Igor Girkin. But it's clear that Putin still fears their influence and continued adoration of Prigozhin. No doubt that's why he made sure that Prigozhin's funeral was absolutely special. The program favored by hardcore nationalists, which means complete victory in Ukraine, envisages full mobilization, people and economy as in 1942. Will be unpopular among majority of people, will pose a mortal threat to property people. Economic elites, which is undoubtedly why Putin has so far denied it. But elites' unwillingness to achieve total victory in Ukraine is not the same as their willingness to admit Russia's defeat. This is all that Ukrainian and US governments currently offer. No one I spoke to in the Moscow elite, and few in the general population, said that Russia should surrender Crimea and eastern Donbas, unless Russia's sovereignty over these territories is officially recognized by Ukraine. The Russians, who take this view, will use additional territories captured by Russia since last year's invasion to prevent any future Ukrainian attack on Crimea. He believes he should hold it, and Donbas. There was no evidence that Russian elite, and indeed ordinary Russian